Lily, my parents' biological daughter who was kidnapped 17 years ago, finally came home. Mom held her tight, calling her sweetheart over and over. But Lily stared at me with a pretend innocence. Now that I'm back, shouldn't my sister go back to her real family? She thought I was some kind of thief living her lavish life, but didn't realize how silent the house got after she said that. Lily is my parents' biological daughter. She was kidnapped and sold to a remote mountain area when she was young and just recently found. I had just returned from baseball practice and heard muffled cries from inside as I got to the door. Inside, I found my mom holding a girl crying uncontrollably. My dad stood next to them, a man of 57 with red eyes. My mom's voice was hoarse. I finally waited for you. You have no idea how much I've regretted leaving you with that nanny. I immediately understood who the girl was. Years ago, my parents were busy starting their business and hired a nanny to take care of their daughter. They left early and came home late, spent little time with her, and didn't know the nanny was trafficking children. When she was 4, the nanny sold her, and my parents spent years looking for her. Who's this? A soft voice snapped me back, and I looked up to see her staring at me. I frowned without realizing it. Her stare made me uncomfortable. She winced dramatically and leaned closer to my mom. My mom patted her back soothingly, saying with a smile, "Don't be scared, this is your sister." My mom introduced me as well. "Cathy, meet your sister, Lily." But I don't remember having a sister. She hesitated, glancing at me timidly. My mom said, "Cathy is." I laughed and added, "I'm adopted." "Oh, I see." Her voice dropped, whispering, "So, Mom and Dad already have another child." My mom quickly hugged her. "Lily, having a sister isn't a bad thing. There's more love for you now." Lily's expression darkened, tears spilling over. "I thought Mom and Dad would only love me. Why share it with a sister?" I silently confirmed Lily's hostility towards me wasn't my imagination. "I get it. She suffered out there and comes home to find her parents raised another child." I started to explain, "Actually, I'm your..." But Lily suddenly burst into tears. "Should I not have come back, disrupting your family of 3? My dad panicked. "Lily, what are you saying? We're beyond happy you're back. Which parents are ever willing to let their kids suffer outside?" Lily looked at my dad, helpless. "Really? Of course." Hearing this, she smiled through her tears and hugged my dad tightly, leaning her head on him. "Thanks, Dad." My parents both sighed in relief. Then she proposed, "Well, since I'm back, shouldn't my sister go back home?" The room fell silent, only soft breaths broke through the quiet. Her hopeful eyes turned to my mom. My mom avoided her gaze instinctively. My dad pretended to drink tea, avoiding her eyes as well. Finally realizing something was off, she looked panicked. "Dad, did I say something wrong?" I noticed the dissatisfaction flash in her eyes and was slightly taken aback. My dad cleared his throat. "Having 2 daughters in the family is something to be proud of. Let's keep it that way." My mom chimed in, "Yes, and if you're not sure about something, you can always ask Cathy for help." Lily didn't expect her request to be denied so quickly and instinctively looked at me. I gave her a smile. "All right then." I grabbed my baseball bat and walked out the door. Behind me, I heard my mom's panicked voice, "Cathy, Cathy." I simply went next door to our neighbor's house. I unlocked the door with my fingerprint and went right in. This house belongs to my supposed aunt and uncle, but they're actually my biological parents. Yep, I'm adopted by my current parents. So when Lily showed hostility towards me, I understood but didn't feel indebted. Here's the thing, my adoptive parents were devastated after losing their daughter. In their despair, they begged my biological mom to let them adopt me. My biological mom didn't want to. After 3 sons, she finally had a daughter and wasn't keen to give me away. But my adoptive parents promised to live nearby, and seeing how they looked like they'd lost everything, my biological mom eventually agreed. I'm Cathy, carrying my mom's last name. That was my biological mom's only condition when they adopted me. So everyone thought my adoptive parents were deeply in love, letting their only daughter carry the mother's name. Even Lily thought I was living her luxurious life and getting all her love and attention. But really, I was always meant to be cherished. Honestly, had I stayed with my real parents, I'd probably be a lot happier. My parents are not only wonderful, but I also have a super impressive family. A cool and powerful brother, Ben, a director brother, Ken who's gentle as jade, and an expressive director brother, Jack. I've got a strong support system. Recalling the dissatisfaction and resentment in Lily's eyes, I clicked my tongue. The upcoming days are likely going to be bumpy, with my new sister being quite a handful. Since I was little, my real parents and brothers never overlooked me. Even when my adoptive parents were busy, they took great care of me. They always reminded me that although I was adopted, I was welcome to return anytime. I had a room, a study, and a piano room waiting for me there. So being back was no issue. I was chilling on the couch, snacking on fruit thoughtfully prepared for me. Sudden footsteps rushed from outside. My adoptive mom and dad barged in hurriedly. Cathy, what's up? Seeing me, my mom sighed in relief and held my face. Cathy, sweetie, I know Lily just came back and is sensitive. Don't get upset. I replied, so, I deserve to be unwelcomed? My dad jumped. What are you talking about? We watched you grow from a little kid to a young lady. You're our real daughter. Who'd dare treat you poorly? My mom added, Cathy, saying that breaks your mom's heart. Fine, but I don't want to go back and hear her bad talk. I'll just stay here for a few days. My mom and dad exclaimed in unison. No way, you're coming back with us. We're not letting you stay here alone. Each grabbed an arm, one around my shoulder, the other around my waist, taking me back next door. Are they worried I'll stay at my biological parents' place and never come back? Looks like Lily hasn't completely taken over their hearts. I looked down. Honestly, leaving so decisively was my way of testing them. I wanted to see if they'd truly replace me once they had their own daughter. Seems like I was overthinking, and so was Lily. As I glanced up at a second-floor window, I noticed a shadow behind the curtain. I chuckled. Lily, this round goes to me. I don't really have anything against Lily. After all, she's mom and dad's daughter, and technically, my cousin. I may be spoiled, but I'm protective of my family. When I first saw her, I even felt a bit sorry for her. But the moment she tried to kick me out of my own home, I lost all sympathy. If she doesn't want me as her sister, I won't bend over backward to make it work. After coming back, Lily didn't mess with me directly, but she was definitely sneaky. She flaunted her closeness with mom right in front of me and played nice with the staff. She tried hard to show how harmless and sweet she was compared to me. I just watched without making a move. Only those who lack love in their lives regard it as important. Someone like me, who's been loved from the start, doesn't bother for small gestures of affection and doesn't need to ask for it. I know I'm loved, even without trying. So, her little tricks weren't worth my time. Her tactics were just too basic. But even if I didn't care to squabble, having someone lurking around all the time was annoying. I called up Ben, keeping it simple. Send money, time for some retail therapy. Ben called back instantly. I could hear the meeting buzz in the background. Cathy, are you upset? I pouted. Yeah, Lily's a pain, always getting on my nerves. Ben reassured me. Don't worry, sis. I got your back. Once I'm back from this trip, we'll move your residence back home. I assured him. Don't worry, I know how to handle myself. After hanging up, $300K landed in my account, pocket money. I grinned wide and got ready for some shopping. As I headed downstairs, I overheard laughter from the living room. There was Lily, snuggling up to mom, both smiling. Hearing me, Lily gave me a defiant look. I smirked back, thinking she could make me envious. Passing by, mom noticed I was heading out and pulled out her phone. Cathy, don't hold back while shopping. Let me send you some money. I nodded, seeing Lily's face darken. In her head, the family money was all hers, not for some outsider. Sometimes, it's amusing, like caring for a moody collectible. Suddenly, Lily piped up, Mom, can I go shopping? I've never been to a big city mall. Mom's heart melted instantly. Of course, you can. I'll take you. She turned to me, lovingly, honey, picking up your bag today? How about mom joins you? I knew she was worried about me feeling left out if she took Lily shopping alone. I hadn't planned on agreeing, but catching Lily's bitter face, I changed my mind. Sure. Getting into the car, Lily quickly grabbed the seat next to mom. I gave them a cold glance and pulled up a Maserati from the garage. As I drove past, seeing Lily's envy turn disappointment, I couldn't help but smirk. Seriously, did she think I'd play such a silly game with her? Naive. What I'm best at is breaking the rules when I don't like them. Lily, though, kept her composure and soon hid her thoughts again. Sister, you're amazing. I've never seen such a beautiful car before. Putting on my sunglasses, I drawled, if you like it, take a good look. I waved and hit the gas. In the mall, I met up with them. Mom took my hand gently. Let's grab your bag first, Cathy. Sure thing. I was eager, clinging to mom's arm as usual. Lily drifted behind, still stewing over our earlier encounter, not bothering with her usual fake smiles now, just pouting. Suddenly, I hear Lily's frantic voice behind us. Mom, they won't let me in. And that's when Mom noticed Lily left at the door by security. Lily, why did you fall behind? Mom hurried over to pull Lily inside. She wailed in Mom's arms. Why did they stop me? Is it because sister doesn't want me with you? I stood there, watching her little act. The nerve. Why should I take the blame for this? Mom immediately defended me. Lily, it's just they don't recognize you yet. You need to wait in line. Lily, with teary eyes, then why doesn't sister have to line up? I burst out laughing. I'm a VIP here, sis, spending a minimum of $300K a year. I saw Lily freeze, then jealousy flashed across her eyes. Through tears, she added, back home, my yearly expenses were only $2,000. Mom hugged Lily tight, pity in her eyes. "Oh Lily, you've been through so much." "Don't worry, Mom, just seeing you again makes me happy." I leaned back, thinking, she sure knows how to play sweet and innocent, but I cut her sentiment short, smirking. "Lily, no need to struggle now. You get a lot more pocket money these days." With a straight face, Lily said, "Sister, money's not what's important to me. Being with family makes me happiest." Perfect words for Mom, gleaming at Lily with love. I sighed slightly, noting, skilled at acting naive and pure, that hits right. Then the sales assistant showed me my bag. Lily stood around, acting like she wanted to touch but didn't dare. "This bag, kinda pricey, huh?" I said, "Yup." Lily suddenly looked at me, hesitated, then asked, "Sister, lots of kids like me don't have enough to eat or wear. They're really pitiful." "So?" I asked bluntly. She seemed surprised by my directness and softly pleaded, "So maybe you could donate instead of getting the bag?" Before I could speak, the sales assistant stepped in. The usually gentle her was unexpectedly agitated. "This young lady isn't one of our customers, right? This bag is a limited edition. Once you give it up, it's gone. Besides, to Miss Cathy, it's just a bag." Lily caught the sales associate's hint and blushed red. I watched her embarrassment coldly without a shred of sympathy. I've read about the lives of kids in remote areas. Their living conditions are harsh, and educational resources scarce. If it's a girl, she might be married off early. Back then, my parents were still looking for their biological daughter, and I couldn't sleep well after learning this. I'd dream of a faceless girl being scolded and bullied. She was skinny, with a boyish haircut, always hunched, with her head down. I thought of my sister, whom I'd never met, fearing she was in a similar situation. So I withdrew all my pocket money and gave it to my brother Ben to help me start a foundation. I hoped to contribute to the growth of girls in poor areas, and wished if my sister was among them, even if we couldn't find her, she'd live a better life because of it. But Lily's arrival shattered my fantasy. I could accept her being ordinary, willing to protect her for life, but I couldn't bear a shrewd, calculating person. "Sis, say something," Lily urged me, feigning helplessness. I looked at the sales associate. "Wrap it up." Lily looked at me, shocked, as if I'd committed an unforgivable act. I asked her with a smile, "Do you think I'm too selfish?" Lily looked down. "I don't dare to say, I just think you have the ability to help them." I suddenly applauded. "It's admirable how much you care." Lily was startled, staring at me. "What?" I suggested to my mom, "Since Lily cares so much, why not start a foundation in her name?" My mom was tempted but hesitant, but Lily only gets $100,000 a month in pocket money. Lily just came back. She's simple and frugal. With that much allowance, I'm afraid she'd be swindled. Since she has the will, let's go with it. I slowly sipped my tea. Just consider it gathering good karma for her. I talked my mom into it. Lily seemed dumbfounded that her allowance was decided by just a few words from me and my mom. She opened her mouth but was afraid to ruin her noble facade, so she tried dragging me down. "Then sis, why don't you start one too?" I had already established a foundation to help girls in poor areas, spending $1 million annually. I said with a grin, "If you need any advice, feel free to ask." Lily turned pale. "This is how it should be. It's easy to be generous with others' money from a high horse, but she needs to put some skin in the game." Since that day, Lily didn't dare to provoke me. I was happy with my peace, barely paying her any mind. As long as she didn't cause trouble, I tolerated sharing space with her. But clearly, I overestimated her. Jack messaged me, saying he had gifts sent to my house, including 2 custom-made bank cards with scenic images from his shooting location. Each card had a balance of $5 million. When I went downstairs to pick up the gifts, I found Lily already in the living room. She was gleefully holding scissors, with half the wrapping already torn apart on the floor. I immediately looked cold, truly angry for the first time. "Who said you could touch that?" Lily bit her lip. "What's making you so mad? You opened my gift." Lily's face showed defiance. "I heard they were gifts from cousin for us, not just you." I gave a look to the nearby maid, making her look away. "True, they were from my brother Jack, but there weren't any for you." "No way." Lily immediately rejected. "With so many gifts, there's no way none are for me." I found her guarded look ridiculous and played the voice message from Jack. "Cathy, I'm coming home soon. Send gifts again as usual. Take what you like." Lily broke down, shaking her head with teary eyes. "Why, when I'm his actual cousin?" I rolled my eyes. "I'm his actual sister." Lily, frustrated, turned to leave, and I blocked her. "Stop, give me the cards." She tried being tough. "What cards?" I looked at her mockingly. "The 2 cards with a total of $10 million. If you don't give them back, I'll call the police." When I mentioned the card's balance, her eyes clearly lit up. Since I convinced Mom to use most of Lily's allowance to establish the foundation, she only had $5,000 or $6,000 a month now. According to a familiar sales associate, whenever she visited the mall, she'd only try bags, never buy them, fearing ridicule. She'd only buy a scarf or flip-flops before leaving. Jack didn't say the cards weren't mine. There are two. Maybe one is mine, Lily said with a stiff neck. I fell silent at her shamelessness. Thinking I had nothing to say, Lily grew more arrogant. Technically, I'm his real cousin. You only get these because of me. I scoffed. My brother's money is always for me. What are you even? Lily was stunned by my words. Her eyes flickered as she suddenly cried. What's wrong? My mom and dad just came back from outside. Seeing the situation, they hurried over. Lily rushed into their embrace, nearly fainting from all her crying. One might think I did something terrible to her. I chuckled, tore open my gift, then fell apart over it. Lily sniffled, red-eyed. Mom, cousin left me no gifts, only for her. Am I that unlikable? I nodded earnestly. Yep, pretty much. Cathy, are you sure Jack didn't send gifts for Lily? My mom asked, surprised. After all, in her mind, Jack, though rebellious, was quite polished. I shrugged. Maybe it's because he heard about what happened when we got back last time. This made my parents a bit uneasy. My dad frankly stated, it's only fair. Dad? Lily looked at him incredulously. My mom advised, Lily, your cousin has cared for Cathy like a sister since they were kids. It's only normal he doesn't favor you after your spat with her. I was nearly in hysterics over their honesty. Lily's face now resembled the smudged mess of freshly dug coal. Mom, Jack sent Sis bank cards, and I heard from Sis they're worth 10 million. Lily hesitantly muttered, isn't it a bit much for her to accept, especially when she's not his real sister? I chuckled inside, actually, I am. My parents were jolted by Lily's remark, their usual kindness instantly gone. My mom spoke sternly. What nonsense, your sister is always a part of this family. My dad was serious. Your three cousins have loved Cathy since childhood, sending her allowance every month. 10 million is nothing. I watched Lily's face turn like a spilled palette of paint, shock, jealousy, and discontent mixed together, making her once pretty face kinda ugly. Her lips twitched a bit, but she didn't dare to piss off my parents then. I was watching on the side, thinking she was really dumb. No matter what, I had been raised by my parents since I was a kid, and they invested a lot of time and money in me, so naturally, our bond was deep. Even if she had a blood tie, it couldn't just convince my parents to kick me out. After getting Lily to shut up, I directly looked at the maid, Kate. Kate had been working here for many years, but she truly was struggling. She should collect her pay and enjoy life. Calm and collected, Kate instantly looked up, disbelief in her eyes. You can't fire me. Why not? I tilted my head. Madam, sir. She looked to my parents for help. My mom coldly said, since Cathy has let you go, pack up quickly and leave. My dad came over and put an arm around my shoulders. Cathy, don't get upset. People like her aren't worth it. I casually glanced at the other servants, and they all lowered their heads, not daring to meet my eyes. Good, they're smart. With the matter settled, I stayed alone in the living room to sort through gifts. What's mine is mine. Even if I don't want it, no one else can touch it. After finishing counting, I carried the gifts back to my room, happening to overhear the servants talking about Lily. Indeed, she comes from a small family, can't hold her own. Yeah, she wants to compete with Miss Cathy, but she can't even match a single strand of her hair. I knew them. Lily seemed to be quite close with them usually. Suddenly, Lily rushed out from a corner, grabbing the two's hair. You traitors, haven't I treated you well, and you dare talk bad about me? The three quickly tangled up. I watched with interest, pulling out my phone to record the drama. When the chaos ended, Lily single-handedly left the other two bloodied. She saw me holding my phone toward her and instantly panicked. You planned this to frame me. I shook my finger. Wrong. Really, you outsmarted yourself. Did you think being nice to the servants would make them work for you? Of course not. Everyone here knows how to cozy up to the powerful, being shrewd and slick. Being always gentle doesn't just lose the host's dignity, but also becomes a laughingstock. I kindly advised, Lily, don't forget who you are. Your priority now is to improve yourself. What's the point in pleasing the servants? The real challenge is to hold on to the resources here and learn the skills you should have learned growing up. Mind your own business. For some reason, there's a thick sense of humiliation on Lily's face. Just because you're rich, why look down on people? I was quite surprised, really looking at Lily for the first time. You should see a brain doctor. Every heir needs to be well-rounded. It's not just about personal development, it's about the future of the family business. So I've been pampered, but I still learned everything I needed to. Since Lily's back, she can't stay in a small-minded mindset, focusing only on what's in front of her. She'll be responsible for the company someday. Her decisions could even affect employees' families, and she's far from ready. A good businessperson needs to make plans with vision and strategy. Learning is the only way to stay rational and calm, and it's the path to improving knowledge and skills. I felt disappointed. I said, I thought at least you had ambition. Ambition isn't bad for us. Lily looked at me coldly. I said, but besides that, you're mean and stupid. Lily shook with anger, biting her lip. I added, sis, I'm not planning to hand it over to you. You drive the company to the ground. What do you mean? She was panicked and incredulous. I'm the biological daughter. I shrugged. So what? I've always said, there's a new set of rules here. Always backing down gets sympathy, not respect. In the evening, I announced joining the company. My dad beamed. I've been saying it so many times, you finally agreed. My mom looked a bit sad. With you gone, mom will be lonely. Lily's still here to keep you company, isn't she? I purposely pointed to the only quiet person at the table. Lily was zoned out. My mom worriedly tried to touch her forehead, not feeling well. She instinctively backed away, flashes of disgust in her eyes. My mom noticed and her hand froze. Lily snapped back, looking pitifully at my mom. Mom, it wasn't on purpose. It's okay, if you're not well, just rest. Lily got up and left. My mom seemed dazed. I always feel Lily looks at me like I'm not her mother. I asked, what kind of look? Fear, fawning, but also a bit of disdain. I frowned. Sounds contradictory. My dad, not interacting much with Lily, casually said, maybe she's not used to it yet, eh? Is that so? I mentally noted it. I quickly established myself at the company. My dad was happy to take it easy, gradually reducing his visits. Lily didn't stir up trouble, staying at home being well behaved. Sometimes when we ran into each other, she would greet me warmly. But deep down, knowing Lily, I knew she wouldn't just straighten out because of my words. She really seemed to accept it, not thinking to outdo me, but enjoying the luxury life, shopping, playing, making friends. I couldn't figure out her scheme. But, tapping my fingers on the desk, I do love a challenge. Lily's change actually suggests she's a bit smart. I was intrigued by her. Let's see what she's planning to do against me. I guessed she'd first act submissively to lower my guard, then work with her new social circle to take me down. I quietly made plans to counter but found Lily unusually quiet. She barely went out anymore and just stayed home. Just when I started to relax, one of the housemaids urgently came to find me. What happened? I saw her hesitating, unable to speak clearly for a while. A bad feeling crept over me. Miss Cathy, I've been seeing Miss Lily coming out of Sir's room late at night. The maid closed her eyes and spilled the words quickly. I almost thought I misheard, and my face turned icy. I warned her, you know what you're implying, right? You could be jailed for false accusations. The maid was certain. At first, I thought I was mistaken, but then I paid attention and saw it often. I was stunned, trying hard not to overthink. But the maid frowned. Miss Lily often goes there past midnight, 2 or 3 a.m., and she's dressed very lightly. My pen dropped, and with trembling hands, I called my mom. Where are you? I went on a trip to the Maldives. I heard my mom's cheerful voice. Chills went down my spine for a moment. When did you go? How come I didn't know? There's been a major project at work recently, and I've been working late into the night. I ended up just staying at an apartment next to the office and didn't come home. I saw you were busy, so I didn't want to bother you. My mom said Lily asked a friend who works in travel to set it up for me, and I had a great time. Don't worry about me. Coldness spread through my veins as I grabbed my coat and rushed out. My assistant, Nancy, jogged over to me, looking concerned. Cathy, is there anything you need me to do? I looked at my newly hired assistant. She's calm, collected, and very capable. I trust her completely. So I said, I have something urgent to handle at home. Take care of any work you can manage. Nancy blinked and then decisively said okay. Satisfied, I turned away and drove home as fast as I safely could. I arrived just as my dad was about to head out with Lily. He looked surprised to see me. At this time, shouldn't you be at the office? Did you forget an important file? No. My suspicious gaze wandered between him and Lily. What are you guys up to? He patted the backpack behind him. Lily and I planned a camping trip. Just the two of you? Alone together, in the isolated wilderness. My heart sank, and I couldn't help but feel a bit nauseous. Cathy, are you feeling unwell? Concern shone in his eyes as I studied him, finding nothing suspicious. I didn't have solid evidence. I couldn't jump to conclusions. I calmed myself and fibbed. I caught a cold recently, so I left work early today to rest. Sick? Dad frowned. Have you been overworking yourself again? Possibly. I took advantage of the moment. Dad, could you stay home with me? I'm craving your meatball soup. Dad, who usually caters to my every whim, hesitated for once. Maybe after Lily and I get back? Trouble. Seems Dad's quite invested in Lily. I pretended to be demanding. No, stay here at home. I glanced at Lily, who was standing off to the side with a gentle smile, acting displeased. If I don't come back more often, you might just forget about me. How could I ever forget Cathy? All right, I'll stay. Dad gave in but looked a bit reluctant. I shot a cold stare at Lily, clenching my teeth. What's her game here? Maybe my return made Lily more cautious since I never saw her sneaking into Dad's room at night again. I had no choice but to bide my time patiently, waiting for Lily to slip up. To keep things covert, I installed a pinhole camera in the second-floor hallway. A week passed with no progress. However, I noticed Dad inviting Lily into his study daily, and I didn't know what they were up to. I carefully observed Dad's demeanor toward Lily and saw nothing inappropriate. Lily behaved quite properly, mostly just holding Dad's hand or leaning on his shoulder. It's all very normal for a father and daughter. My suspicions slowly diminished, trying to convince myself they might have pure intentions. Another voice taunted, "What kind of daughter sneaks into her father's room in skimpy outfits at night?" I found myself at a crossroads. There was important work at the company, sometimes requiring my signatures in the middle of the night. Our villa was a bit far from the office, which was inconvenient for my subordinates to reach me. And with leaving work early lately to deal with family matters, I'd let work pile up. I decided to stay just a bit longer before returning to the apartment. During dinner, Nancy messaged me wanting my signature on a document. I had the driver bring her over. While signing, I heard a noise upstairs. Lily stood on the second-floor balcony, her expression caught between panic and fear. An uncharacteristic facial expression, like she'd seen something she couldn't handle. I discreetly followed her gaze and saw she was looking at Nancy. In that instant, I made a decision, smiling brightly at Lily. "What's up, Lily?" Instinctively, she glanced down and crouched, pretending to pick something up. I broke a cup. "It's okay, don't mind me, I'll clean it up." Nothing was adding up as I noted her trying hard to hide. I knew Nancy's background. She came from a poor family and was orphaned. She was one of the girls my foundation sponsored. I'd taken an interest in her because she was among the few sponsored students who got into college with outstanding grades. Nancy's a diligent, clever candidate, making her a perfect fit as my assistant, especially as I was just starting to build a team. I was just curious why Lily, with her boastful and flashy personality, would fear Nancy, seemingly avoiding or even hiding from her. Was there something more to this than met the eye? After signing, I patted Nancy's shoulder. "You've done well. Head back now." Watching her drive off, I immediately had someone dig into the connection between her and Lily. I hit the jackpot. Lily's mother was Nancy's middle school teacher, but strangely, her mother, not old enough to retire, had oddly done so. I lingered over my thoughts and suddenly froze on a photo of Lily from middle school. Today's Lily resembled the one in the picture only slightly around the eyes. On closer inspection, they looked nothing alike. A string in my mind suddenly tightened. Oddly enough, it hit me. Nancy's features seemed eerily similar to Lily's. Nancy usually wore thick glasses and held herself sternly, while Lily was full of life and smiles, so I missed it all this time. Until today. Staring at their photos, a bizarre theory started forming. The next morning, before leaving, I hugged Dad, and discreetly snagged a hair from his head, giving a glance to the housekeeper standing nearby. She had just come out from cleaning Lily's room and slipped me a hair while handing over my car keys. Out the door, I immediately called my brother Ken to book a DNA paternity test at his hospital, saying I'd drop by soon. Even expedited, results take 2 to 3 days. Replaying recent events in my mind, dread crept over me. If Lily and Dad had no biological connection, her late-night intrusions into his room were something else entirely. If true, without a doubt, she's been attempting to seduce him, no two ways about it. Perhaps, thinking she couldn't win against me taking over the business, she sought to secure Dad first before we noticed. Switching lanes, she'd then compete against Mom. Using a child to fight for inheritance is way better than using a fake identity. Everything connects, and the answer is crystal clear. Lily knows me just like I know her. If I'm right, she knows I'm suspicious and will act tonight. I immediately told the driver to speed home, jumped out of the car, and ran inside. Study, tea room, bedroom, no sign of my dad. I stopped an aunt passing by. "Where's my dad and Lily?" "They went out." A panic set in. "When did they leave?" "Half an hour ago." I rushed downstairs, calling Jack, a cop, to help track down my dad's car. In a hurry, I picked the fastest car in the garage. Under Jack's guidance, I took the shortcut to intercept them, but it was too late. When I got to the hotel, their car was already parked outside. I quickly found the room number, wrench in hand, about to bust in. The door swung open. My dad stormed out, face dark with anger. "Told you before, that daddy complex is a sickness. You need a hospital." Seeing me, he stopped in surprise. "Cathy, what are you doing here?" Lily ran out in tears, hugging him. "Dad, I love you." I stared at my dad, watching his face turn all kinds of awkward shades. My people arrived and peeled Lily off him. Dad let out a sigh of relief and shouted to the bodyguards, "Take her to the hospital and check if it's her brain or her psychology that's sick." Lily struggled but was dragged away crying in the hallway. My eyebrow twitched. I had to stop this before someone thought it was human trafficking and called the cops. I told the guards to gag her and forcibly take her away. In the car, my dad eyed me nervously. "Cathy, when did you find out?" "One of our maids saw Lily sneaking into your room." His face darkened. Even she knew? I interrupted him. Focus on what's going on with you and Lily. There's nothing. We're just father and daughter, he said anxiously. I stared at him, not buying it. He sighed and explained everything. It turns out the night Mom left, Lily snuck into his room in just a slip, scaring him. But out of fatherly love, he thought nothing of it and stayed up with her. Dad grumbled. Lily's not as smart as you, asking questions about the simplest book. I rolled my eyes, pointing out bluntly, she was trying to get your attention for other things. His face showed disgusted realization, then she started acting clingy, saying she loved me, wanted to be with me. I added, she dropped the hints and went straight for confession. He sighed, exactly. He went on, I think Lily's mentally unwell after being trafficked. I wanted to gently guide her thoughts back to normal. I realized, that's why you often took her to the study, just to talk? Dad, yeah, but she wouldn't listen. I thought maybe a change of scenery, like a camping trip, would help her. I was speechless. My middle-aged dad loves outdoors, hoping nature would broaden her mind. Seriously? He covered his face. Yeah, I thought she listened, but today, she tricked me into this hotel instead of camping, stripping right at the door. This confirmed my suspicion. Lily wasn't my parents' real daughter. I told my dad my theory, and anger filled his face. Then what was all the clinging recently about? I gave him a sympathetic look. Bad luck for you. He bristled. I want to press charges for harassment. I reminded him that would reveal Lily's fake daughter truth to Mom. He sighed, right, Cathy, don't tell your mom about this. Of course, I wouldn't tell about such a disgusting thing. Let Mom worry over it. 2 days later, the paternity test proved Lily wasn't my parents' daughter. But the test showed my assistant Nancy was. I found Nancy working calmly, not remotely surprised. Curious, I asked, why so chill? Nancy smiled. I'm happy with my life now, so no big feelings about the new. I thought for a moment, let's give you a promotion and raise then. Nancy became the company's GM, shaking up the company. The next day, the company issued a statement revealing her identity. Those out of the loop thought she started from the bottom to learn the company. Nancy came to me, confused. You clarified my identity, but you. I closed the document, extending my hand. Hello there, cousin. Nancy was stunned. A week later, my aunt, uncle, and 3 brothers returned from abroad. Families gathered in the living room, lively and happy. Aunt suddenly said, now Nancy's back, Cathy should move her registration back to our place. The room fell silent. Mom decisively replied, no, after all these years, let's leave it as is. Aunt and uncle exchanged a tearful glance. 3 brothers piled in as well. Nancy watched with a gentle smile. I raised an eyebrow. What's got you happy? She gave me a look. Happy for you. Since I started work, I'd been nervous about causing you trouble. Puzzled, I asked, how would you cause trouble? I don't get these rich family affairs, but no one wants to share an inheritance with someone else, right? I looked at her in surprise. That's pretty insightful. Nancy wasn't exactly the understanding type. Yet she'd stand firm with clients during business deals. She simply said, only kind to you. Without your help, I wouldn't be here today. I hugged my knees, laughing. A flash of the little pixie-haired girl flickered in my mind, marveling at the world's wonders. I pressed charges against Lily for using a fake identity, demanding repayment of every cent spent as my dad's daughter. The day Nancy and I went to change our residency registration was the same day as the court hearing. After hearing the judge read out the verdict, Nancy and I genuinely laughed. As we stepped out, we ran into Lily, who was being insulted by a middle-aged couple with graying hair. She glared at us with resentment and in a hoarse voice asked, are you both satisfied now? I shook my head with a laugh. I'll be satisfied when you pay back the money. 7 million is a number most people will never see in their lifetime. And for Lily, that number will be a burden for life. Are you Nancy? The middle-aged woman next to Lily looked at Nancy in surprise. Nancy remained calm. Teacher, long time no see. Curious, I looked at this middle school teacher and recalled the whole story of how Lily stole Nancy's identity. Back in middle school, this teacher favored Nancy, almost like a second mother. Their relationship was really close. Later on, the teacher saw a missing person announcement on TV. She knew some things about Nancy and started piecing her identity together. Instead of confrontation, she got even closer to Nancy, then had her daughter undergo plastic surgery to resemble her. They moved in step by step to take over Nancy's life. I suddenly remembered asking my mom why she was so sure Lily was her daughter when she first showed up. Mom said she saw a red birthmark on Lily's shoulder. I'm guessing Nancy has the same red birthmark. Let's go. Nancy's voice pulled me back to reality. After we walked a bit, I turned to her. Still upset? She smiled, her eyes glistening. I used to genuinely see the teacher as my mom. I put my arm around her. Don't think about it. Your real mom is home waiting for you to come back for dinner. She nodded firmly. Yeah. The next year, Nancy resigned. HR handed me her resignation letter. I rubbed my forehead. Shouldn't I be the one leaving? She smiled sweetly. You're the born leader. Mom and Dad trust the company more in your hands than mine. What about you? She said, I want to dedicate myself to charity, helping girls from more impoverished families. She looked at me, very sincerely. I always wanted to be like you, just like you inspired me when I was younger. I shrugged. Don't make me sound so great. I just did what little I could. But to someone like I was, you did more than enough. I fell silent and waved my hand. Go ahead, do what you want to do. Nancy is really outstanding. She's visionary, quick-thinking, proactive, and has a relentless drive. I knew better than anyone she'd succeed. And it turns out, my judgment was spot on. Nancy's become a big name. Our aunt went to 5 parties in one day, smiling so much her face stiffened. The online world praised her, and as a result, my company's stock also went up significantly. I was so happy. I called her up. Your success benefits the whole family. Nancy's voice was lazy over the phone. Does the company really rely on me? I chuckled. Who would think too much of a good thing? When are you coming back? Why? I feigned a frown. Since you left, Mom and Aunt have been setting me up on dates non-stop. 3 blind dates in a month. Nancy laughed without reservation. She said, just wait, I'll come save you. Sounds good. I've often been grateful that my cousin turned out as I hoped when I was a kid, pretty well off. Even beyond my expectations, she's a resilient and smart woman. There may have been bumps in her journey, but pretty good is better than perfect. Mom called from the window. Nancy just phoned saying she's coming home tonight. Aunt asked us to come over for a get-together. I smiled and agreed.